Hey everyone, a lot of exciting things to tell you. Now that we've reached the 6-month mark halfway through the year, we're basically just going to talk about a bunch of things. Goals, failures, all that good stuff. We are about to hit 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. This has been a feat in and of itself. Anyone that's making their way in YouTube, kudos to you, because this is not an easy thing to do. Even though we have the characters, the people, the company, building a channel today is still extremely difficult. So hitting the 30K was our goal about 2 months ago, so we're a little bit behind on that, but either way, the channel is growing more than it ever has. Some other things to talk about is going to be Drift Masters, shop expansions, building the new Corvette and things to do with that, and then also improving the drift scene in the Canadian community. Country's big, drift scene small. We're doing everything that we can. There's enough people here, there's enough drivers, there's enough tracks to really make a statement. And really, a lot of you guys think that we're super north, but in southern Ontario, we have very similar weather to New Jersey, New York, and there's that's kind of the stomping grounds of where drifting started in New Jersey for a lot of people. So we have the exact same weather cycle as they do. We are more than capable of getting a drift scene going. So let's talk about the shop. We are expanding 2 sections of the shop, the shipping department and the water jet laser department. Currently, we outsource a lot of laser cutting. It's pretty much the only thing that we outsource a lot of. We thought that it would make a lot of sense to buy a 12,000 watt CNC laser. This is going to be able to cut up to 2 inches thick, although we will not cut up to 2 inches thick material because we don't have anything that needs that. That's what this machine's capable of. So with that, it's about 8 to 10 times faster than our water jet, depending on the thickness. And it is really going to expedite a lot of the orders, a lot of the quality, and overall going to be really good for us because currently as we're building this company, you can either profit early and outsource everything and have essentially no overhead, or you can reinvest in the company and do it all yourself. The one is kind of the long game. You are reinvesting and not having a lot of profit or any profit every year. And I've been doing this since, 2015-ish, reinvesting every year. So the time will come when these machines, are just making money instead of costing as much as they're making. And we're well on our way there. But in the meantime, it is, like I said, the long game investment. For all of you guys that really enjoy the products, that's great for you guys. For the rest of you that just like to follow me or the channel or the guys or whatever else, we have stuff for you as well. We're going to be doing a lot of new things with the Drift Corvette. There's going to be some things involved with the Corvette that you guys are going to say that is a waste of time. And to most people, it might be. But what is going to happen with it is we're going to be learning a lot by doing a lot different. One of those things is making a completely custom rear subframe with trailing style suspension. I'm going to do it and I'm going to throw it on the car and I'm going to learn a lot by making my own system that I believe would be mechanically the best case scenario for drifting. And I've already learned a lot with the tube design within CAD and how you can easily do it. Easily is an understatement. How you can do it with 3D sketching. 3D sketching is kind of another animal on itself. Quite difficult to constrain a 3D sketch, and I know some of you may know what I'm talking about, but otherwise it's just not that easy to cope and notch and build a tubular structure within CAD that is constrainable and one that you can modify and change. So that's going to be really interesting. The next thing would be Drift Masters and how Drift Masters has gone so far. I know you guys have watched us not do the greatest in Spain and also not do the greatest in Ireland due to mechanical failures, the engine in Spain and the power steering rack in Ireland. All of these things seem like, oh, they must be unlucky, they must have done something, karma, whatever. It actually is nothing to do with that. This is racing. We are pushing the limits on all these products, and essentially these things will happen. It's not a if they're going to happen. Being in Europe, that is the challenge. It isn't that the engine's blown. We've blown engines before and we've swapped them and found parts for them, and we've done this stuff overnight here in the US and in Canada. But in Europe it's an LS and there's not a whole lot of support over there, and we're reusing parts that shouldn't have been reused. With that being said, and all of the issues that we've had, it actually gives us an opportunity to meet with all of the other drivers. This is an opportunity that we otherwise would not have had if we didn't have these issues. For one example, we met Lloyd Patterson, the infamous tuner from Ireland that does the best job on basically anything that you need dynoed or tuned. If I didn't blow my engine, I never would have met him. So I'm kind of excited to work on some RX-7 products and send them over to him to trial. on his FD. And then there's a few other teams in Drift Masters that we've gotten to know a lot better that, again, we would have never met if we had a perfectly functioning car. So now that we've gotten the first 2 rounds out of the way, 3 is a charm, and we're going to be going to Finland with a car that does work really well. I was able to test drive it immediately after putting the steering rack in on the Sunday of Ireland, and I will honestly say the car's never felt this good. So the steering rack was going for quite some time, and I was simply just driving around it. And driving around it, you would think, why would you do that? Well, when it comes to the power steering system and having the car being in Europe, I cannot test it at any time between rounds. I'm arriving and I'm driving. Basically, if I changed a rack after a practice and then there was an issue with the new rack, you've now wasted both practices and you have to go into qualifying with an unknown functioning power steering system. So essentially the mindset was the power steering system was working, but it was not working well at all. I was at the point where I could not drive through the chicane. The chicane is the starting cones where you have to make a hard left and then a hard right. It would do the hard left and then there would be no power steering assistance for the hard right. So basically the seals were gone. There was massive delays in pressure assistance and it really showed itself during the rain on qualifying. Needless to say, Drift Masters has been amazing. There's a quote from one of the drivers there, not from me, where they say in North America, they win in the pits, and in Europe and Drift Masters, they win on the track. And I think what he's trying to say when he says that is a driver and the driver's team and the driver's family that you're competing against will ensure that you are at 100%. And what I mean by that is they will jump in your pit and fix your car with you and for you. They will even give you every setup tip that they ever have, their wheel speed, their tire pressures, they'll give it all to you, because to them, to beat you square is better than beating you in the pits, essentially, setting up the car or having failures or anything like that. Whereas they feel in the US, it's a lot more secrecy, a lot more money, and a lot more less driver, more money, car, and if you can afford to have no failures or have a lot less, that's how you're going to win. To an extent, I don't think I know of that many people that are like that. I think that my circle of drivers and friends are well equipped to be driving over in Europe and have the same mindset as guys in Europe. And I feel like I help a lot of people and a lot of people have helped me. So I don't know that my circle is like that, but I could definitely see that being a North American thing, especially when it comes to other forms of racing. And it is true. Like, you want your opponent to have the best opportunity to beat you. That way, when you beat them, it is a lot better and a lot more rewarding. And it genuinely means that you did your due diligence and you beat him fair and square. So a fair fight is always better to win at, and that's kind of what they focus on. Another thing, the Canadian drifting. I'm just going to touch on this quickly. We've been running a series this year that we started to take over last year, and it has been challenging and a little more work than we should take on because we're so busy, but it has been also rewarding. We had double the entry or double the drivers as we did the previous event at the beginning of the year, and the driving quality and the ranking system and everything has been working really well. So I'm happy with the improvements we've made. We're basically trying to match what's going on in the US. They've had ranking systems in for a long time at like Club Loose and stuff, and eventually build up to what could be competitive driving, or it could be just a lot nicer cars and a lot better driving, which opens up better tracks, more respect, and bringing that back to Canadian drifting, because you've got myself and Tommy Lemaire, who are both Canadian, and comparatively, Tommy is doing better and is like the best driver I've personally seen. Wait until you see what he can do in like a pro series with a bigger tire. He's like me, he likes to go fast all the time. The Pro Spec tire is quite small and it is really holding him back. And that's coming from Canada. So he is one of the best and will be one of the best. And then hopefully I will be able to get there with him, but I have so many things going on. Other companies, businesses, kids, and FDF Race Shop obviously is the main focus of all of it. And when I say other businesses and companies, they're all going to be revolving around FDF as the foundation. But essentially, FDF is kind of turning into a manufacturing facility that's capable of making just about anything. FDF is always going to be the center of whatever I come up with. And whatever I come up with, you guys will eventually know what that is. So that's kind of like a mid-year recap on everything. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the content that we create. Anything to do with Tip Tuesday stuff, help us out with the tips and ideas. Every tip that I have in the bank right now that's ready to go is really long form and quite complicated, and we really wanted to focus on just tips and improvements and helping people with simple things, whereas it's almost turning into like a how-to series with really long Excel spreadsheets, and it takes a lot of time to prep these things. So anything that you guys think is simple, throw that our way and we will be sure to tackle that and make a video about it for you guys. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. That's it for this video. See you guys on the next one.